Howdy sailors! In today's video we're going to talk a bit about how to write female characters. Now, contrary to popular current belief, this is actually quite simple. The exact same way you'd write any other character. Okay, it's not actually that simple. I mean it is, but we'll get to that. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on writing women or writing anything in general, but I'm here and so are you, so let's talk about it. This is a topic I hadn't thought much about until recently, as, like I mentioned already, to me writing women was essentially the same as writing men. After all, both men and women have quirks, whims, hopes, fears, dreams, and things like that, so what's really the difference in terms of writing? I started thinking about making this video around the time Captain Marvel came out. Also around this time, one of my favorite video essayists, Now You See It, uploaded a video called Writing Women. It's a great video and I suggest you check it out. It's also a lot better than this one. At the end of his video, my boy says,
each of these characters gives us a different look into the human experience. Maybe a well-written character played by a woman challenges you to think a little differently. Maybe they challenge you to look without gender, or to see women from a new perspective. If it works, it works. There's no wrong way to write women.
A lot of people in the comments flame him for this, but I wasn't that triggered. I actually kind of agree. I don't think there is a wrong way to write women, because there is no one set way to write women. Every single woman, just like every single man, is different from the next, because even though they're basic, boring people, there are no two people who are wholly alike. And since there are endless types of people out there, there are endless types of women, and because of this, endless types of ways to write women. However, I disagree with Now You See It for the fact that I do think there is a wrong way to write characters. And since a woman character is still a character, there is logically a way to miswrite women. However, I don't think there's any kind of standard which differs miswriting women from miswriting men. I think that a lot of the current ways to write women stem from women being historically miswritten throughout literature and film. The common tropes, especially medieval literature, was to characterize women as villainous whores, witches, or damsels. This was the common view of women a few thousand years ago, and so obviously that permeated into writing. It's still around in a lot of current or classical works, though the degree of severity or how much this really matters is an entirely different video. But from this we have seen, in recent years, the emergence of the strong female protagonist. I don't mean this in an entirely derogatory way, but it's also not a complete compliment. The strong female protagonist, we'll call it the SFP, has come forward mainly as an answer to the classic damsels, whores, and witches of most classic literature and film. Whores and damsels are much less common now than they used to be, and maybe that's a good thing. But maybe it isn't? It's a good thing in that there are definitely women who aren't whores and damsels, but I think it's a bad thing because, sorry, there are some women who are whores and damsels. The SFP is fine so long as she does not utterly replace all other types of female characters. There are definitely strong women out there and it's great that they're being depicted in film, but what seems to be a common problem among many current SFPs is the fact that they are that, and just that. They're flawless strongmen who can do whatever they want because, well, they're strong. I see no reason why a whore, witch, or damsel can't also be a strong female character. You can have a whore who is an SFP, just like you can have a damsel who is an SFP. They just have to be well-written characters. And a character, or protagonist, doesn't even necessarily have to be strong all the time to be a good character, male or female. The most well-written characters are the ones who are vulnerable, and the strongest characters are the ones who find the strength to overcome that vulnerability. Which brings me to Captain Marvel, and what I think is a current plague damaging the writing of female characters, particularly in popular film media. For me, Captain Marvel fell totally flat because Carol Danvers is boring. This movie gives her absolutely no flaws or hurdles to overcome. She's perfect and snarky at the beginning and perfect and snarky at the end. She doesn't change or learn a single thing. I don't mean to beat the dead horse here, but yeah, she's a perfect Mary Sue archetype.
So to bust the rhyme without further ado, take it away, Mary Sue.
Jesus Christ is my...
I don't want to get into a full analysis of Captain Marvel, in this video at least, because it honestly just doesn't interest me enough. It simply applies in that Carol Danvers is a poorly written character who also happens to be female. She's not poorly written because she is female, she's just poorly written and happens to be female. And I think a lot of this is because the filmmakers wanted to have the currently trendy, strong female protagonist. Carol's main crutch in the movie is that she doesn't remember her past or something. But Carol literally never shows any kind of emotion in the film. She's not prone to outbursts of rage, fits of crying, or even bouts of laughter. She makes the occasional lame comment and Jude Law's like, hey, cut that out, Veers, you're a soldier. We the audience are told that she's emotionally unstable, but we never see it. Even when Carol's confronted by her past, she doesn't seem to care much. Watching this movie for the second time, I thought of another emotional superhero character with amnesia problems. You might think I mean Dory from Finding Nemo, but I don't. You might think I mean Bucky Barnes from a lot of movies, but I don't. Though he's a good example too. No, I mean the granddaddy of them all, the big boy, the big angry, the big dead. My boy Wolverine from X-Men. Wolverine, like Captain Marvel, has a serious issue with his past and identity. And he's also a character who, unlike Captain Marvel, seriously struggles with his past. He's prone to huge violent rages of emotional vulnerability where he goes around killing people. And yet, when he ultimately uses and overcomes that, he's all the more stronger because of it.
This is what it feels like.
To me, Captain Marvel as a character just felt like a response to what are characteristically seen as weak women archetypes. And again, that's fine, providing she answers those weaknesses in a compelling way. What this concept boils down to is trying to avoid stereotypical writing of women. I get it, but the correct way to do that is not by switching to or creating another stereotype. And men can be written weakly this way too. Just look at the long laundry list of many stupid action movie heroes. I heard someone make a complaint about Captain Marvel being called Mary Sue, but Superman not. This made me angry for a lot of reasons, the first of which being, quick disclaimer, Superman is my favorite superhero. Superman is called Mary Sue, all the time. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but Superman isn't very popular right now. People know who he is, yeah, but they don't like him. It's kind of like Hitler. He's often called boring and overpowered, like Captain Marvel is. But the second reason this made me angry is that even if people didn't call my Supes Mary Sue, he still wouldn't be a Mary Sue. Superman is all-powerful, yes, but he's no god. He's a lot like Captain America in that his greatest strength is also his greatest vulnerability. His humanity. Clark Kent's true weakness isn't kryptonite, it's the people around him and his need to always do the right thing. He works best as a character when he's put in situations where he can't use his powers, or doing so is damaging to him. Everyone loves to make fun of the neck-snapping scene from Man of Steel, but I've always really liked it because it illustrates this point perfectly. There is no right choice for Superman to make, and his decision hurts him. There is no scene of inner conflict, regret, or anger in Captain Marvel because she's written to be perfect as a way to illustrate that women can be strong! Captain Marvel illustrates every way an SFP should not be written, while another female superhero from 2017 illustrates exactly how they should be written. Again, not Dory. This scene alone proves my point. I'll never forget how I felt watching Diana charge through the trench for the first time. It was exactly the type of thing a hero would do, and I loved it. Wonder Woman is vulnerable, both physically and emotionally, throughout this entire movie. This scene is exciting because we know she can be hurt, or even killed by doing this. And not only that, but she's overcoming what she sees as a huge problem, her lack of caring for humanity. She risks her life for the idea that people can be better, and as a result, these guys do the same. Wonder Woman shows a ton of emotion in this movie, and it's one of the best parts about her character. An example is this scene right here.
Oh, baby.
No babies. No babies. That one's not made out of clay. Come on. Diana, please.
This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think a woman cooing over a baby is perfectly acceptable for a woman character. It's just a fact that women often take better to children than men do. I think Wonder Woman cooing over the baby is a perfect example of highlighting the small things that set men and women apart in the real world. Cooing over a baby is definitely a more feminine thing to do, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's okay for female characters to be feminine because femininity is not an inherent weakness. So often female characters these days, all their femininity is utterly stripped from them in an attempt to be progressive. I think it's just lazy and makes the female characters more like their lazy male counterpart. Taking a woman character and putting her in the place usually held by a male character does not automatically mean you have a well-written, strong female protagonist. It means you have a woman in a traditionally male role. One of my favorite parts of Wonder Woman, and one of the things that makes her so endearing as a character, is her love for people and her great humanity. The central part of the film is her connecting to that and her relationship with Steve Trevor. Being human, finding love, and simply having humanity are some of the themes of the movie, and even the credits song in the film supports this.
To be human is to love people.
I mention this because it once again ties back to Captain Marvel. There's a point in that movie where Annette Bening's character says, "Without us, you're only human." Carol then flashes back through her past and responds with, "You're right, I'm only human." It's not a bad scene by itself, but it's not supported by anything in the film, as Carol never grapples with humanity like Wonder Woman does. Being human often translates to not being perfect, but Captain Marvel is, well, perfect. As a result of this, the line just sort of falls flat, because there's no conflict for her to overcome, no idea for her to embrace, and as a result, nothing for the audience to cheer for. Another example of a well-written, strong female character is Rosalie Quaid from the 2017 film Hostiles. Rosalie's entire family is murdered by Indians despite her best efforts to protect them. Her infant child dies in her arms and she suffers from PTSD the whole rest of the film. She has trouble getting close to or trusting anyone and moving on. She is very much mother first, and that's totally okay. A woman in the 1800s was not likely to be anything but a mother or a wife. In the real world, that's sad, but in writing, that's just the way it is. This does not mean, however, that these women were not strong, or can't be written as such. Rosalie is extremely strong, and is able to get over the loss of her family and move on as a person. One of the things which I think is most interesting when it comes to writing female characters is seeing how they exist within or overcome the societal shackles they've been historically put in. A great example of this is Hostiles. Another great example of this is George R. R. Martin's The Song of Ice and Fire series. Those books and their show deserve an entire video dedicated to how the female characters are handled and how they deconstruct archetypes in an intelligent, engaging way. But for this video, I just want to really talk about Brienne of Tarth, or Brienne the Beauty as she's mockingly known as. Brienne is described as an ugly, freakishly large woman who is physically undesirable in literally every way, except for her eyes, which sparkle like blue jewels. Now, for anyone with any knowledge of the feudal worlds A Song of Ice and Fire is based on, this is a red flag for Brienne's prospects of success. Women in this time period are what I mentioned before: damsels, witches, or whores. If you're a woman, you are going to be married away, so you better be pretty, so that, you can be married away. Brienne is not pretty. She's not feminine in literally any way. She's built to fight, and it's what she's good at, so it's what she does. She struggles a lot with her femininity, and as a character is given almost entirely masculine traits. Brienne's condition is a commentary on the roles of women not just within the novels, but the real historical context they're based on as well. The odds are completely stacked against Brienne, and yet she overcomes and perseveres, displaying that she is strong both mentally and physically. Things are not simply handed to her as they were handed to Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was given her powers through pure chance. She did nothing to earn them. There's nothing about her that says she deserves these powers, like Superman or Batman. Brienne is given immense physical strength, but it is precisely through this that she loses power. So just like Superman, her greatest weakness comes as a result of her power. So, to make this real simple for you, female characters should be written as characters first, female second. Male characters should be written as characters first, male second. It's certainly important to be aware of your character's gender, but only to the same point you are aware of how that gender affects the story. The gender of Brienne changes things a lot more for her than the gender of, say, someone like Galadriel in Lord of the Rings. It's important to avoid stereotypes in writing women, just like it's important to avoid them when writing men. Why? Not for social reasons, but because otherwise it's just lazy writing. A whore is a stereotypical character for women, sure, but that doesn't mean that a whore has to be a stereotype. A whore can be just as vulnerable, and as a result, just as strong as any SFP or strong male protagonist. And really, that's that.
To be human